Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Tassos Kilimos. Happy to be joining you guys for another edition of NBA Player Prop Parlay right here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope your week is going well so far. Hope you guys enjoyed the holiday, had a very Merry Christmas. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves with your time with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, whatever the case may be. Hope you guys enjoyed the holiday. Hope Santa Claus was good to all of you. We have a new day, which means a new NBA Player Prop Parlay to share with you guys. I have a 3-leg parlay that I'm very excited to share with you. So let's dive right in. All right, guys, so we have 3 legs today. As always, I use DraftKings as my sportsbook of choice. We have 3 props today for this player prop parlay. 2 of them are going to come from the Knicks Thunder game. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the other one is coming from the Raptors Wizards game, which is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So let's start with the 2 legs in the same game from the 8 o'clock game. Starting off the first leg, we have Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks over 5.5 assists. And as always, guys, this show is sponsored by Outlier. They are the best sports betting tool in the market. And as you're going to see in this video and all my other videos, I use Outlier to find my player props. I'm going to share the screen with you in just a second to show you how I use Outlier, the kind of data that Outlier gives you. There's a link in the description below that gives you a 7-day free trial to try Outlier for yourself. I promise you guys, you will not be disappointed. Again, the best way I can advertise this tool is to go ahead and show you how I use it for my video. That's the best way to do an ad. It's better than to give you the ad read and just tell you what what I think you want to hear. I'm going to actually show you how I use it. So let's go ahead and share the screen here. And so this is our first leg. We've got Jalen Brunson over 5.5 assists. So obviously they give you all the odds you see here on the screen. You can go through a number of different things, rebounds, points. They give you all kinds of different prop stats. So for our purposes, we're going with the over 5.5 assists. Now you come down here and you look at the last 10 games for Jalen Brunson. You're going to see a lot of green. In 8 of his last 10 games, Jalen Brunson has hit this over of 5.5 assists. And if you just keep expanding, the numbers look pretty good. You go to his last 20 games, and even better. In 16 of his last 20 games, he has hit this over of 5.5 assists at an 80% rate. And you look right here, the trend right now, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, drop. So he's hit this in the last 3 games. So if you follow that pattern, and maybe that's a stupid thing to follow, but he tends to hit this in about 4 or 5 games consecutively before he has a drop-off. So if we're following that pattern, you see right here, he's hit 3 in a row. He should hit it at least one more time before he has a drop-off. But in general, 80% hit rate this year, 16 out of 20 games. And you see he usually blows right through this number. A lot of 8 assists, a lot of 7. And then when he does miss, he still gets at least 3 or 4 assists. So pretty solid spot here for Brunson. And when you look at the 2023 season as a whole, again, fantastic to look at. 19 out of 29 games this year. A 66% hit rate, excuse me. He had a little bit of a rough start early in the year, but since then, he's only missed this 5 times. 5 times since November 6th, he has missed this number. So pretty good spot here for Jalen Brunson. And when you look at the head-to-head numbers in each of their last 2 meetings with the Oklahoma City Thunder, he has hit this number. Now, these are obviously both games from last season. They played 2 times in November of last year. They have not played yet this year, but in the 2 meetings that they played last year, he had 7 assists and 9 assists, so pretty good number. And if you go over here and you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder defense against assists, you see here they're 19th in the NBA. They give about 26.9 assists per game. They are bottom half of the league in assists allowed, which is pretty good for us. And versus the point guard position, it's even better. They give up 9.3 assists per game versus the point guard position. That is bottom 5 in the league. So over 5.5 assists for Jalen Brunson. Honestly, you probably could go a step higher and take the over 6.5. We're playing a little safe here for the sake of getting a win. And so we're taking the 5.5, but I would play this up to 6.5 assists. I think that even 6.5. That is the first leg of our 3-leg parlay. All right, guys, cruising right along here. We're going on to the second leg of our 3-leg parlay. We are again targeting this Thunder Knicks game. We're going to go on the opposite side now, though, and take Josh Giddey over 3.5 assists for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And again, I think we have a pretty good spot here, guys, for this Josh Giddey prop. So let's go back over to Outlier here. And you're going to see in his last 10 games, he's hit this in 8 of his last 10 games, this over 3.5 assists mark. You see we got it at minus 195 odds on DraftKings. 8 of his last 10 games, including 8 in a row. He's hit this in 8 consecutive games. Pretty good number for Giddey. Expand this out to his last 20. He's hit it in 14 of his last 20 games. It's a 70% hit rate. And on the 2023 season as a whole, 19 out of 27 games, a 70% hit rate on the season. And this little downturn here that you're seeing on the screen, that's around the time, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but this is around the time that those allegations came out about him having relations, to say it properly, with an underage girl. He again, not proven anything. Nothing's been proven so far, but these are when the allegations started, is around this peak. You saw his minutes, his playing time went down, his numbers dropped. This is about when he started focusing up in this 8-game streak. He's kind of blocked out all the noise with all the allegations off the court, and has started playing up to what he's supposed to be. So assist numbers have been looking good. He had that little bit of a downturn there, but he has hit his in 8 consecutive games. He has hit this over of 3.5 assists. And when you go to the head-to-head, again, it's always important, in my opinion, to look at the head-to-head. In each of the last 3 matchups versus the New York Knicks, he absolutely crushed this over 3.5 assist mark. His last time they played, November 21st of last year, he had 7 assists. And then the previous 2 meetings before that, dating back to February of 2022, Valentine's Day, he had 12 assists and 12 assists. So Giddey consistently hits this number. The Knicks right now defensively, they are about middle of the road. They get about 26 assists per game. And you look at the matchup, not exactly a great defensive matchup, right? I mean, you look at their top 5 in assists allowed to the shooting guard position. So they're a pretty good defensive team. Again, overall, middle of the road in assists allowed. But it's a good spot. He consistently hits it versus this team, and he is on a hot streak of covering it of late. So a pretty good spot here for Josh Giddey for the second leg of our 3-leg parlay. All right, guys, and now for the third and final leg of this 3-leg parlay, we are moving over to the Raptors-Wizards game. We're going with Chris Boucher over 2.5 rebounds against the Washington Wizards. So moving back over to the outlier screen, you see here we got it at minus 150 odds. Not half bad for over 2.5 rebounds. And you look at the numbers here in his last 10 games, 8 of his last 10 games, he has recorded over 2.5 rebounds. Now, it's pretty close, right? He gets about 3 or 4, except for that one game versus Denver, he had 7, but he's always right around that line. The last time he didn't hit this was against Atlanta on December 13th. He had none, and against Phoenix on November 29th, he had 0. But he consistently hits this number in his last 10 games, expanded to the last 20. Kind of the same story. 14 of his last 20 games, he has hit this over, and on the 2023 season as a whole, he's hit this over of 2.5 rebounds in 19 out of 26 games. That's a 73% hit rate on the season. So pretty good numbers for Boucher. And when you look at the head-to-head numbers, damn, that's a lot of green. 8 of his last 8 games versus the Washington Wizards, he has crushed this number. And you look at here, the lowest number, you got to go back to March of last year, he had just 3 rebounds. But the last 2 times he played them, he had 7, including the last meeting, which was on November 13th of this season. So the one time that Toronto matched up with Washington this year, he had 7 rebounds. He crushed this number you see here. In each of his last 8 games, dating back to October of the year 2021, he has hit this over of 2.5 rebounds versus Washington. So a pretty good matchup here. And when you look at the defensive numbers for Washington, again, they are the worst team in the NBA, actually, in rebounds allowed. They give up just shy of 50 rebounds a game to opposing teams. And Chris Boucher, who, of course, is listed as a power forward. You look at the power forward numbers there, bottom 5, they give about 11 rebounds per game to the power forward position. Even if you go at the small forward, bottom 5, the only position where they're actually not terrible giving up rebounds is shooting guard. But every other position, they're bottom 5. So this is a Wizards team that gives up a ton of rebounds per game to opposing teams. It's a spot that Chris Boucher overall does pretty well. And actually, if you go down here, this is the matchup stats versus Washington. He averages over the last 8 meetings 5.5 rebounds per game when he plays Washington. And on the 2023 season as a whole, we scroll back down there, he's averaging about 3.7 rebounds per game on the season. So pretty good numbers here for Chris Boucher. That is the third and final leg of this same game parlay. All right, guys, and if we go ahead and jump back into Outlier, you're going to see here on the right side of my screen, this is the picks for the game. These are the legs for the parlay. You see Jalen Brunson, Josh Giddey, and Chris Boucher. These are the 3 legs of our parlay. Now, the good thing about showing you, I haven't shown you guys this screen before, but if you look at this screen here, you'll see they actually give you some odds for FanDuel. So if you guys aren't betting DraftKings, here are the DraftKings odds, obviously. But here are the FanDuel odds. Minus 165 for Brunson in that over 5.5 assist mark. Minus 220 for Josh Giddey in that over 3.5 assist mark. This Boucher bet is not available at FanDuel, at least not at the 2.5 rebound mark. So if you are betting with FanDuel, you're not going to be able to get the Chris Boucher prop, but you will get the first two. And if you're betting on DraftKings like myself, you are getting all this. And on MGM, they actually have the Chris Boucher one. So it gives you a little look at what I have. And this parlay, there is a 50% profit boost when you use DraftKings. They have a little bit of a profit boost for you guys. And when you put that profit boost, this takes a parlay that would have been plus 280 to plus 420. So plus 420 odd parlay for a 3-leg parlay with trends that have been hitting consistently. We love the spot here, guys. That is it from me. Make sure to comment if you are riding, if you are fading, whatever the case may be. Make sure to comment down below, like, and subscribe. We are very close to hitting that 45,000 subscriber goal. Make sure to help us out. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Guys, that is it from me. Until tomorrow when we have a new NBA Player Prop Parlay video. I hope you're all winners. Have a good day.